All opinions expressed by the program participants are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Upscale Love for You. The program participants' opinions are based on the information that they consider from their own knowledge. No expressions or accuracy is related to Upscale Love for You.
Good evening, everyone. This is yours truly, Dr. Fabulous, coming all the way live from the city country of the 912 by way of the 305. But without further ado, I'm going to send it over to you, none other than Dr. Feelgood.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to be back. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce, coming you live from an undisclosed location because I'm getting it in the nation. What's going on, people? Hopefully, you get something out of it. If you're thinking about this, do your thing, make it happen, and stop capping. Next on the mic is following me is my main man, Action Jackson. Go ahead.
Thanks for tuning into another episode of Upscale Love for You. We have a great show tonight, Love and Lockup. Anyone experiencing a relationship being with an inmate in jail or out of jail is a rocky relationship. So hopefully we give some good advice, how to overcome the challenges and how to improve your relationship while either in jail or out of jail. So, Special K.
Thank you, Action Jackson, and good evening and welcome everyone. This is Special K from the Upscale Love for You crew. Just hoping everyone had a great week so far. I'm glad you all could make it tonight. And whether this is your first time or you tuned in numerous times, sit back, enjoy tonight's conversation. I have a good feeling it's going to get spicy. And again, welcome to Tantalizing Talk. And next, I'm going to pass it over to none other than our Lady T.
Thank you, Special K. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited. This is a very hot topic tonight. This is Lady T coming live from the 305. So, Dr. Fab, are you ready to spice it up tonight?
I am also ready, but first, before I do that, let me just give you a little insight or in cap about the purpose of Upscale Love for You. Upscale Love for You is formulated to entertain, educate, and facilitate self-help, self-love, and everything you want and wish to know about love, relationship, dating, divorce, widowers, marriage, etc., etc. Upscale Love for You often uncovers hot topics like tonight and sensitive issues, from tales of singleton to parenting struggles and everything in between. Whether you are actively seeking direction or looking for ways to pass the time or genuinely looking for just a good conversation, Upscale Love is here for you. So please don't let this be your first or your last time, but come back, check us out, because every week is something different. So without further ado, I'm going to start this show off tonight with some real deep conversation. And what I need to know is our topic tonight is love and lockup. And I actually did some research on love and lockup. And it says that, believe it or not, people becomes more involved or more intense with their relationship when they're dealing with someone that's incarcerated. And I was like, how can that be? How can you just really be in a true relationship with someone that you can't touch, that you can't reach, you can't feel, you can't do any of that. But who am I to say that relationship won't work? But as I was perusing and reading about the relationships with being involved with someone that's incarcerated, it says that majority of the time it gets better because they have a great trusting relationship. And I'm assuming it would be the person that's incarcerated that would have to, trust their mate, because the one on the outside can do and be wherever they would like to be. However, the one on the outside knows that the inmate is not going anywhere. So, with that being said, when you're dealing with a person or having a relationship with someone that's incarcerated, you got to do what? What is something key? I've never dealt with a person who's incarcerated, and I know we have situations where you can deal with them once they come out, this, that, and the other. But to actually be in a relationship with someone that's incarcerated. So I'm going to ask that $1,000,000 question. Is there anyone on the panel this evening that has actually been in a relationship with someone while they were incarcerated? Is there anyone here? Okay. Well, if no one has ever been in a relationship with someone while they were incarcerated, the key thing I was going to say is, when, according to what I read, because like I said, I don't know, I've never had this type of situation to occur, but it says that in order for them to have a healthy relationship, they must set boundaries. And I think that's with any relationship. When you have a relationship, whether they're incarcerated, whether they're out, whether you're in the same house, you got to set some boundaries. And it says that they must have true, honest communication. And then it says they must have non-judgmental listening, meaning that when you go for that visitation and you pick up that telephone and they start to talk, should you judge them? I'm assuming not, because it's saying have non-judgmental listening. And it also says write out things that you're having doubts about. And last but not least, they have to cherish the little things. So, is there anyone that would like to shed some light on this, or have any other things that they would like to talk about when it comes down to this type of relationship? Leanne, you got your hand up. Go right ahead.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Okay, so keep in mind there is a degree to individuals' incarceration. You can have company, you can see people, all of that honest stuff is out the door. And let me just give you an example. Not that it happened to me, but it happened to a very, very close friend of mine. She was married before he went in. She was given special privileges when she went to visit. Okay.
So wait a minute. When you say special privileges with their visitation, do you mean like, what do they call it?
Like you get cool points and they allow you to see, you're allowed to take in guests.
Okay. All right.
And it depends on to the extent, like I said, there are degrees of lockup. I also have a family member that works in prison, so I kind of like know this stuff. When you say you meet somebody in prison and you are being open and honest, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not having sex in prison. You might not know about it, but it's a lot that goes on in prison where they get sex, they have sex.
Okay, so while
Mhm.
you're on that path, Leanne,
Mhm.
you say they get sex. Are you saying that they're having sex with each other as inmates? Are they having sex with the correctional officer?
Both.
Is it
All of
same
that. All of that.
sex? All
Sex
of
is
that.
sex,
All of the
Dr.
All
above.
of
Fabulous.
that. All of that. All of that.
Oh,
So when you
okay.
start, the reason I raised my hand to get started was because you said we got to be open and honest. You're on the
Okay.
outside, they're on the inside, and how do you know about open and honesty? And I was getting ready to just to say, when my girlfriend heard she was married before he went in, but she was given special privileges, and she came crying to me after she visited him, and she said something was different. I think John, I'm just doing the John Doe and the Jane Doe.
You better preach, Leanne.
Something is
Go ahead.
different.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
she made love to her husband, but did he really make love to her?
That's right.
Okay.
Wait, so she had
so that
conjugal visits?
yes, ma'am.
Oh,
So that
okay. All
kind
right.
of
See, that's what I was asking, but without asking. Okay.
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 So she came to me crying because you know that sense that we have, that's called discernment. You better take heed, okay? Because that's exactly what it is. It's discernment. And she said, I think John slept with somebody, Shauna. It was just not the same. It was just this, and that. And I said, how are you going to find out? She said, well, when I go back, I'm going to do things a little different just so that I can gauge what I'm supposed to be doing. Here I am, seeing you, taking care of you, whatever, loving you while you're in prison. But yet still, you're not reciprocating to
Faithful.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So she went back like 2 weeks later. But you know how you have to fake the funk when you know something? You know how we have to not show all of what we know? We have to kind of like hold back so it won't be, you know, where they would ask you, is everything okay? Because you're doing your homework. You know how we do, you know how women do. Men do the same thing. So come to find out, he slept with one of the ladies, the correction officers, and they were in a relationship. So when she came back to me and she cried, I said, what you gonna do?
Well,
Because you
Leanne,
can't ask.
look. Leanne, I was holding my breath because I'm glad it was with a lady correctional officer because
instead of a man.
Child, I was
I thought it
like,
was Steve.
I was like,
Steve.
thank you, Jesus. It was with another woman
Yes.
and not with his bunkmate. Because that's what I was thinking. Like, wait a minute. She going for conjugal visits and okay. I'm
It was
glad
another
you said what
woman.
you
They were
said.
actually in a relationship.
But
And
again,
I told her she can't ask me what I'm gonna do if I was her, what I would do, because my feelings are hurt just for her telling me that. But all of this I'm going through, why in the hell would I still want to do what I've been doing and you cheated on me in jail? That's like cheating with a handicapped person. Like I'm thinking I'm all of that in a bag of chips. That you cheating on me?
Well, I'm gonna knock
at the
on
end of
wood
the
for that
day,
one, Leanne, because had you said he had fell in love with Jonathan next door, I was gonna say now.
But
I
here's
was
what I'm
gonna say
saying.
now, Leanne.
Does it really matter? Does it matter?
It matters to a certain
But
degree, I guess.
You know, but we know in prison anything can happen,
No,
right?
okay.
So is it gonna matter whether it's John and Steve or John and Eve? It's not gonna matter for the simple fact that all of this I did, and I'm on the outside. Look at what you did.
Okay. And I
Did
can
she have
understand
proof?
she was hurt. I can
Oh, when you having sex with your husband,
understand.
You
you
know
gonna
it
get
ain't
proof.
right.
Because he's in jail. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the situation different. Maybe people watching. I mean, it feels comfortable to perform certain acts.
No. Nasty Jackson. Let me tell you something. Even if it was something bothering a person, if that sex is different, you can tell, okay?
That's right.
Even if something's going on with you that's outside of sex, you could tell.
That's right.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Leanne. You say you can tell. So she could tell when her husband was in prison that he had had sex with the correctional officer just one time.
She didn't know, but when you know something is different, off kilter, your affection, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You can't fake a funk like that. I'm sorry, you just cannot.
That's right. He or she touches you differently. They make love to you differently.
They're in a whole zone.
They caress you differently. So you know.
It could be stress.
Jackson shaking his head like he don't agree. Why don't you agree, Action Jackson?
Because the man could be on a lot of stress being in the jail. You know what I'm saying? So his comfortability, maybe not having his wife or his girlfriend at his disposal when he feel like, and just kind of rush when she gets there, like the rush to perform a sexual act versus build up the chemistry, the climax.
No.
Y'all better be stronger than that, men. You better be stronger than that.
Well, I would need proof to say that I can't say he's guilty. I mean, innocent and proven guilty. In his case, I'm gonna defend the man. Maybe it could have been a one-off situation.
No, let me tell you, Jackson. It prompted her to do her homework.
That's right.
And anytime, like I said, if it's a prompt, that's discernment. Take heed to it. People have patterns and symptoms and signs.
That's right.
And once that starts, you need to pay attention.
So how would you have access to Eve in jail? I'm curious. How is that possible?
What?
How would you have access to Eve in jail?
You keep going. Say it again.
He's saying, how is it possible?
Oh, it's very possible.
Very possible.
Are you saying how is it possible, Jackson, for them to have relationships in jail?
A lot of the female correction officers wind up falling for these guys in jail. They're around them more sometimes than they're with their own families. I don't know if we have any correctional officers on the line, but it happens a lot, and they start bringing stuff in for them. I know a few people that have been behind the wall and have had relations with the female guards.
Yes.
It happens. It happens more than you think.
And they get pregnant from them too.
Yes. Yeah.
The female inmates get pregnant from the male inmates?
No, the female correction officers get pregnant from the male inmates.
Oh my God. Okay. This is a whole new something here.
It goes both ways. It goes both ways. Even the at the male prison, you know, the males get the females pregnant and the females get pregnant by the males. It goes both ways in the prisons.
All right. Well, thank you, Angela, for chiming in. Well, that was what I had as far as my research about how to keep a relationship while in prison copacetic, they would say. But like I said, I don't know anything about it. I never had me a romance affair while they were in prison. But my research, it was a whole lot. Ooh, if I could have shared everything that I read, I was like, ooh, my goodness. But anyway, I'm going to pass the torch on to Special K. Are you ready, Special K?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead, take it over.
Okay, so My question, what I wanted to kind of talk about tonight with this topic is what drives a person? What do you think drives a person to date someone in jail or prison, especially if they hadn't met the person before they were incarcerated? So I, over the years, I've done some work with some of the prisoners. I've know personally people who've dealt with, guys that's locked up. And what I would say is you have to handle things differently. Excuse me. It's still a man is a man or a woman is a woman because they're behind bars. So the cheating can definitely exist. I would say it's the same in a sense as when you're on the outside. I mean, men on the outside, you could be in a relationship with someone for years on the outside and they could cheat on you or you don't know what they're doing behind doors. Men sleep with men on the outside all the time. We have a lot of DL brothers out here. So, it's it can happen. Um,
Excuse me, for people that don't know, Special K, what does DL stand for?
oh, sorry about that. Down low.
And so that means they're down low. What is down low? I
Well,
just
that
want
means
you to explain
when
it to
they're
me.
okay. I wasn't ready for this, but when they're, intimate with men being intimate with men, but usually are married or in a relationship and not in it, that's that secret part that they're hiding. So they're not out with it. They may not even identify as gay, but they sleep with the same sex and and it's a secret. So they, say down low.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for
Okay.
sharing that with us. Okay, now go right ahead. I'm sorry, I have to ask the questions because everybody may not know that lingo. So I wanted to make sure everybody got it. And Special K, you got a hand
Right.
up if you don't see it.
Yes. Okay, I do. Jerome B. Yes, go right ahead. Jerome? Was that
Yes, I'm
Jerome?
here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. I'm going to say you asked the question, can can you be with someone that you never met that's in prison? That was the question, right?
Right. What drives a person, in your
Oh,
opinion, to date someone
yes.
in jail or prison, especially if they haven't met in person before they were incarcerated?
Right. Okay. So what I think it is the talk game and the
Mhm.
pillow talking. When you on the phone and they telling you what you want to hear, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. When I get out, we're gonna have this, we're gonna have this life. I'm gonna do better, I promise you. It's just a talk game. That shit sound good over the phone. So that, and that sounds good to a person that you telling them what they want to hear. Everybody want to hear that. They want to hear a positive. I
Right.
also feel like it's the looks. I feel like for prison men and maybe the women too. Prison both. Let me say both. Prison people. I don't know, for some reason they look good. Like if you see pictures of men in prison or women in prison, they look good. I don't know. They say the food nasty, but I think it's because they work out. They don't have nothing else to do.
So
Like they are
that is
They
attractive.
really do.
They
they
are
do. And I
attractive.
did, and you know why a lot of that is? You got to think about it. A lot of them are that's why when if you see some men that have been in prison 20 years plus, they might be 50, 60, and they come home and they looking like they 30 or 40 years old. I mean, they're taking care of themselves, like you said, they're working out. They're a lot of times, I mean, there's drugs inside there and everything, but they're not hitting those hard street drugs maybe as they were
Right.
at some
And it's no
point on the outside.
stress.
Most people I've came and know from family members, friends, things like that have done time in prison, they do tend to look much younger and healthier
Mm-hmm.
than when they went in.
Right,
Um,
right.
so that's very true. Um, I but I what you said, I feel like, that is very true. You're on point. But I notice we talk a lot about the negatives of it. Does anyone know of a prison story or two people that actually met in prison or dated in prison and came home and was successful? Because that does happen too. I don't know how often, like how, I don't know what the percentages are compared, but I do know someone personally. They knew each other from childhood, but reconnected while he was in prison. He did reach out to her, and when they continued, talking a relationship, and when he came out, and he did about 15 years, and they married. They have a baby now and everything, and they're good. I mean, as far as I know, but he married her, and they have a good life together, from what it appears. So, it can happen. But let me get back to the question. What drives a person to date someone in jail or prison, especially if they hadn't met before they were incarcerated? And just in my personal opinion, I think sometimes for women, I think low self-esteem can play a part into it. But I also think sometimes as women, there's women, some women tend to be very more on the emotional side, and I think you can get that, I guess, from a man who's in prison. So you may not get that physical, but you can, if they're talking to you every day on the phone, it's just that emotional part, and I think that's what gets some women. And nowadays also, these men, not all men in prison are just broke down and wanting a woman just for money. There's a lot that they're doing in there. Some of these men have money in there, and I've seen it. Like I said, I worked with some of them before, and they send money off their book. They're sending money home to these women. Of course, they can't take care of them as we meet someone here on the outside can do as much, but some of them are in positions to do things for these women as well. Leanne, your hand is up.
Yes, I agree with you that they have money, because you have your Watergate type men, you have your Martha Stewart's type women who go in rich, that Lauren McLaughlin, Lauren, whoever. You have rich people in jail. You have drug dealers who are in jail and, well, incarcerated, whatever, the same thing, and they still running their show from the outside.
That's
So
right.
they do have funds, but it wasn't about so much the money. It was the why. It's more than, low self-esteem and people that just get lonely and feel like a person that is incarcerated is going to treat them better than that person that's outside, because he can't cheat on her, but they just don't know any better. So those are some of the reasons: loneliness, depression, low self-esteem. Is sometimes you could also become a person, like Jerome says, that gift of gab. You can become a pen pal to someone, and I don't know if it's manipulation that when you're in prison, but when you become that pen pal, you're writing your emotions, and people start feeling it, and they'll feel sorry for you, or they'll feel some type of emotion, and they would want to get with you because you're seeing eye to eye and agreeing to everything that they want. You understand what I'm saying? The commonalities are there. So a lot of times you get hook, line, and sink, because I don't know who said it. I guess I don't know if it was Lady T said Jerome. He said they're giving you what you want to hear, and they're doing that psychoanalyst thing by not only giving you what you want to hear, but trying to get you to feel what they want you to feel, so that you can not cut them off, and when you get out, it's all hunky-dory.
Right. I agree. And I see, and I apologize, I see Angela. I think I missed your hand. You can go right ahead.
Come on, Angela.
No, how you doing? I was just gonna say that the same things that were being said already. It's an emotional attachment, and like they just talked about the pen pal thing, they're writing multiple people at the same time, sending the same letters to everyone.
Hello.
You're
Absolutely.
just an additional account on their books.
Yeah.
And
You know,
maybe
I'm
using a different name for you're the one person using a different name because if they in the same prison, you don't want them to think
Yeah.
they falling in love with the same person.
You being
I'm
hustled. That's
actually
all.
I'm actually curious to hear from one of the males. If it's just out of curiosity, because I hear a lot coming from the other side about, the that are in prison. It's about, multiple women, it's about the money, this, that, and the other. But if, a straight male who goes to prison and he gets hit with a lot of time, and his natural instinct, if he's, a heterosexual male, his natural instinct is women. So now he's around men, 20, literally what 20, 25, 8, right? He's around men all the time. Is it for a man? And I would like one of the male to answer this. Is it always or is it always about the money from a female, the getting over, the this, that, and the other, or do some men truly want the companionship of a woman because they're lonely from being,
Special K,
they're
you have a
around men
hand
all the
up.
time?
You
Yes,
have
Papa
Papa
Dog.
Doc hand up.
Papa Dog, can you answer that? Or would you like to answer that?
I don't know if I could answer that because I haven't had the experience of being incarcerated.
You not a prison head? I'm just
No, not yet. Anyway,
kidding. Okay.
but y'all were talking about something earlier, and man, I have so much. I have so many people that came through my life that you know the prison experience and the stuff that's gone on. That I mean, from top to bottom, as my son's grandmother worked in the prison system a long time. She was a guard. She became a counselor. She dated a dude who was an inmate while she was a guard. She dated she dated this one dude. The first day he got out, he came home, he had sex with her, and she never seen him again. Okay, that's crazy. So now she gets another dude who was formerly incarcerated, who which when you're working for the prison system, that's a definite no-no. You can't have no type of relations in or out of the system from an ex-con. So this next guy she dated for a few years. They broke up. He had another girlfriend. The two women bumped his because he was seeing both of them. So the other woman, she called the prison and let the prison know that the counselor of the prison was in a relationship with an ex-con, and they fired her. And she was probably the money that she was making. It totally destroyed her career, you know. And so this has been around me all the time, and I know we on this topic. I dated a woman that I didn't know had been to prison, and I spent a long time with her. I spent 15 years with her. She was an ex-con, and she was, she had some prison mentality. She had some street mentality, but she was a very sweet, beautiful person. But it's still a part of that life from her ex incarceration that that just dragged with her on, you know, throughout the rest of her life, even after she, was out of the system. So it changes you, you know. It,
I
so
have a question for Papa Doc. You
sure.
said that she had that prison mentality. What was what was the traits that was giving off that she still had prison mentality?
So yeah, I'm going to tell you about this. I'm laughing because I have a classmate. She was incarcerated on and off. She had problems with drugs, and she used to always talk about when she would get locked up and go to jail, and the girls that had never been before, they come in there. She said they call them 30-day bull dykes, because of their
Did you Say a 30-day bull dyke.
30-day bull dyke because of their sexual appetite. So like when you have a person that's sexual, that loves sex, and they come in saying that they're not gay or they're not lesbian or they're not into the same sex, in 30 days that will change. She would tell me that would change in 30 days. So they called them 30-day bull dykes, So now going back to, what you asked me about the lady that I was with, that hung with her because she did I can't remember the years. It was something under 5, something like that. But being in the system, her sexual appetite was one way and it changed when she got there. So when she got out, she still had appetite to be with a woman. And so you have to be a strong person to be so I would have to ask the ladies, how would you feel if your guy said, well, I had sex with men while I was in, I want to be with you, but every now and then I want to be with a man.
Taste of that sausage.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Oh no.
Cancel
It's a
Christmas
no for
on
me.
that present. As they say,
Right.
cancel Christmas on that present.
Yeah,
But
You're not gonna replace it.
So for the women, I understand how y'all would sound, but as a man, because men can see two women being together without it, without having a negative ill will towards it. So every now and then it was good for me because, she would get her female, then she would ask me, do I want to participate?
Of course you enjoyed it.
Absolutely, because
freak
my mind.
Nasty.
Okay, so now that we got that out the way, so
Yeah, everyone. Child, all men.
But but you really have to be maybe a strong, open-minded individual. I say if you could, be able to put up with something like that, And like I said, this is just I was in a long-term relationship with this young lady. I know 15 years,
Okay, well, thank you, Papa Doc. I see Marlena. You say you have a story to tell? Marlena, would you like to say something?
I'm sorry, I had to get you guys off of mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
So good evening, everybody. I went to IHOP many years ago. So this guy was our waiter, right? The guy's telling us his whole entire story. So basically, this man said he got locked up. He went to federal prison because he was smuggling drugs and giving it to the inmates. And he said the only place who would hire him was IHOP. And I feel like that's another reason why people get locked up, because other people help them. They give him drugs. Yeah. He was giving cell phones, and the inmates were paying him. And I was like, wow. Guard? Yeah, he was a guard. And the inmates was paying him like either cash money, or his family members was like wiring him money just to smuggle in stuff. And then when he got caught, he lost everything. And he said the only people that hired him was IHOP. And he was such a nice waiter. He said, he said, you think I would really be here being a server? He said, this is the only place that hired me. I was like, oh, wow. He said he would never do that again. And he said he encouraged everybody not to do that. And I'm just like, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. It happens. It happens a lot. But okay, would anyone else like to chime in on the question tonight? What you think drives a person to date someone in jail or prison, especially if they haven't met outside of prison?
Well, I'm gonna ask this question, Special K. Do you think that'll be a good old app to get created, date inmates?
Yes.
There's an app out already for that.
So, because I think
there's an app out.
I'm about to say you might be a little bit too late on that.
I was gonna say, but it's a definitely for it.
It's an app out already for you to date an inmate.
I'm quite
they
sure.
have Write a Prisoner. They have all those. You're right, like prison.
Cell phones in jail, computer.
They
the military man too.
In the box, in the chat box.
What happened now?
I put some of those links in the chat box, like writing a prisoner, dating a prisoner, just so for your information.
Child, I ain't looking. My eyes are
I
closed.
sure ain't looking.
Hey,
Jerome, your hand is up. Go ahead, Jerome.
Oh yeah.
So I want to say that I had a friend that was locked up. So he would say, like, we'll get on the phone, just talking. This was just like a friend, like nothing else. Like, bro, how you doing? What's going on? What's up? Oh, nothing. He would say, Jerome, I know you know all the women. He'd say hoes, but I know you know all the women. Tell them to give me a call. Like, tell them to give me my Instagram or whatever. They have social media. They have phones. So it's ways to get in contact with them. Like, you can find them on social media, and they still have their Instagram, and they have a phone, and they talk like that. So it's like easy. Like, you go, tell them to contact me. Let me talk to them. So I used to be like, let me see your cell because we'll be on FaceTime. And I think all the people in one cell share a phone, so they had certain times. So I said, let me see your cell. Let me see what you got going on. So a couple of times he showed me, and he had like magazines, and they cut the pictures out with women and the faces on the wall. So they really do have like their ways.
They jets.
Yeah, so and like the women, like girls are contacting them via Instagram or Facebook, and they talk like that without talking on like the prison phone, because you can't, on a prison phone you can't really talk how you want to talk. But on Instagram, when they have their personal phone, I don't know how they got the personal phone, but they all had a person that's like that one cell phone, and they would take turns. So yeah, it is possible to communicate with them outside of the prison phone.
And then now they have tablets. So when the prisoner go inside, they like assign them a tablet, and they can do all kinds of stuff on the tablet. They can pay for movies. They can sign up for a tablet.
An iPad.
I don't know if it's iPad, but I know it's a tablet.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Taken
right.
from the students out of the school.
Like, I'm telling you, I'm tired of paying them taxes. Prison life, you got a bed, you got food, you got clothes. You don't have to work. That's the life.
Jerome, what was that guy named?
Go on and check
Jeremy
yourself
Meeks.
in, Lady T.
I think I'm gonna have to.
On BET, they had this happily ever after with a guy named Jerry Meeks. He was in prison, correct, Jerome? And
yes.
and look where he is now.
But he's the one that was he's an actor and a model now, right?
Yes. Everybody.
Right. Show a picture, Dr. Feel Good, because I
have a picture so I can see him.
Yeah, Dr. Feel Good, you got his name is Jeremy Meeks. Dr. Feel Good, you got to look that one up.
You talking about the hot felon? I already know.
Yes, he
well,
went viral.
I'm just saying.
He went viral because of his looks.
In prison.
Yeah.
He's actually acting a lot on BET Plus now. So
really,
yeah,
he makes plenty of money.
He's made good off of his looks and the fact that women find him extremely attractive.
Yeah, he has some nice eyes.
What's the name again?
Jeremy Meeks. I'm gonna put the link in the box. Give me a second.
Please put it up so I can check out Jeremy.
That's why I tell anybody, it's about the looks. I don't care. You could be ugly. Put your weave on, your lipstick. Put on a nice suit.
Okay, to me, he's not all of that, but y'all he ain't
Let
all of
me
that.
see. Let me see.
Okay.
I don't
right now.
You all have some hands up, Papa Doc, Jerome.
Yeah, I think I lost my train of thought what I was going to say, but
you say you need some ginkgo?
Oh, he ain't cute to me.
Say what?
He looks like a little cat. Oh
no, he isn't. But I was just saying, he was in prison and look where he is now. And I was just
he got cute eyes. That's all. He ain't all that.
What did he go to prison for? Because I thought he was an actor.
He didn't become an
Oh,
actor,
Crips.
Marlene, until he came out.
He was a member of the Crips street gang.
Oh, okay. He looked better when he was before he went in.
Angela, your hand is up. Go ahead, Angela.
Yes, ma'am. What about the people that commit to the prisoners and lifetime, like years, commit, and they get these fairy tale fantasies about they getting out, they're going to get married, and then they get out and they end up seeing them, like someone said, sleep with them and then never see them again, or get with them and get what they need to get functional, get their license and get the this and the that, and then no longer be with them. The marriage is no longer on the table. We were talking at work today, and the show Love After Lockup is just this whole conversation right here.
Right. But then you got to also look, Angela, look at Sheree from the Atlanta Housewives. She dealt 2 whole years with this man that was in lockup. I'm sure she sent him money. I'm sure she put money on his books. But when he got a chance and he got ready to get out, he ditched her as soon as he got out. So not only the common women get caught up in that mix, you have some that's movie stars, actresses, they deal with a locked up individual to be let down when that person gets out. Papa Doctor, your hand is up.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is you got to also think about this. Some women marry men in prison for the security because they know exactly where their man is. You know, it's like, well,
when you say security, what do you mean?
Well, you know, you got insecure people in their relationships. And I did hear, I did speak to a woman that says, well, I know where he's at, and if he cheating, it's with a man and not with a woman. So,
oh my goodness,
and she got a mental problem because
exactly. And her securities are insecurity. How he gonna take care of the bills at home?
But see, she's not worried about that part. And plus, a lot of women marry men, and they go do the conjugal visits. They even had a TV show with that, where married couple, and she would go every weekend, every other weekend, once or twice a month for a conjugal visit. And they have a whole nother housing unit on site for them to go and spend whatever time it is in that, that unit. And she's there for a few days, and then she leaves and he goes back to the population.
But that's what some of them do. That's what some of them do.
Right on so many levels.
They get married to have the conjugal visits.
They get married to have the conjugal visit. That's on his side, but on her side, what makes you marry a man?
That's right.
That's in prison, and you only can see him for your conjugal visit.
Desperate.
Okay. Desperate, secure, insecure, people
lonely.
Yes.
I was gonna say I don't see it so much as desperate for it can be, I'm sure, but I think loneliness will plays into a lot of that. And someone said earlier, the talk game. I mean, you don't know what a woman has gone through in her life and her past, and at that particular moment, she may meet this man who is like, I mean, calling her every day, how's your day? The mouthpiece is great, and he may care about her to an extent, and he's doing this, doing that, and just that alone for some women, it makes them feel good. It makes them, and so I just feel like it's a bunch of reasons. But I also want to say that what about the many men that are out here in the free world that never stepped foot in the prison, that cheat all day on their spouse, that get with women, meet women out here, and get something out of them, whether it's finances, help them with a business, have this woman thinking that he's going to be with her. I mean, to me, in that situation, men are men, and it can be done whether they're behind the wall or outside.
Men are men, but the bottom line is if you're in prison, let's say for some time, because you can be in prison for like a year or whatever, that's no time. But if you're in prison for some years, then you're hustling somebody. You need someone to put money on your books. You need someone to, make the time go fast. You just need something. And they are not being, genuine, whether it's a male or a female.
I do agree that they need something, especially in the aspect of, like I asked the question about the men, loneliness. If you dated women on the outside and used a woman, and now you find yourself in a position where you're with men 24/7, you're going to want to still talk to a woman. You're going to want that interaction. You're going to want that. So yeah, I mean, in that aspect, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah,
but then it's
I
something
know
that
men
woman wants
coming up
too.
behind me. They've been in prison sleeping with Steve and John and Richard. And then
you know
you
what,
want to
you
come
all,
out.
I pose this question. If you met somebody, I don't know how you're gonna meet him now. I'm just putting this in the atmosphere. He's in federal prison, and federal prison is a little poosh posh opposed to regular prison. And he went to prison for robbery. And he got this money stashed. Now he tells you where the money is. I'm just building the pitch. I'm building the picture, y'all. Would you marry him if he told you where the money was and you could go see it, feel it, touch it? Would you marry this individual and live happily ever after when he gets out? How many of you would do this, whether it's a male or a female? And be honest. Tell me in chat if you don't want to say it on.
Hell no.
No, hell no for Lady T.
Hell
Okay.
no. He
Whitney Houston, hell to the no.
He robbed somebody, he might rob my behind.
Okay. He might rob you and kill you and get your insurance policy. He gonna get that insurance.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all better watch Lifetime.
As long as you tell me where the money at, I'm good.
Okay.
No, I just think they're not genuine. I mean, if I know you going in prison, that's fine. But still, coming out, you done did a couple of years. No, I just don't see myself being with you.
Okay. Well, all right then. Well, Special K, do you have any more questions for the audience?
No, I do not. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it right over to Lady T.
Thank you, Special K.
Angela, your hand is still up. Do you have
I'm sorry,
else to say? Angela?
No, ma'am, I apologize.
No problem, no problem. I'm glad that you're active with us. Lady T, go ahead.
So my question tonight is, you are locked up. You have been locked up for, let's say, I don't know, 12 years. Now, would you sleep with someone in prison, male or female, doesn't matter, not the guard, one of the inmates, or would you hold yourself until you get out?
Who's that question to Papa Dog?
Papa Dog? Is he gone? I think he's done. Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. I was too busy laughing. I couldn't get to the unmute button. I was like, what? Why me? Well, let me. So, could I do it?
The question is,
Papa Dog?
You're locked up for 12 years, right?
Papa Dog, first of all, how tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
Ooh, everybody be
you'll be a big old buddy in prison, boy. Watch out now.
Oh, sorry, Dr. Fam. You don't know nothing about me in that aspect. No, I wouldn't. Look, listen. To be 100% truthful now, I ain't gonna be on the bottom. I'm gonna tell you that part right now. That,
Papa Dog.
I might. Hey, I might figure out something. Hey, I got the gift of gab. I might have to talk one of them CO ladies in the,
I ain't say correctional. I said
No, he
one of
said
the
it had to be an
inmates.
inmate.
shoot.
Oh, I think
You
he
know,
kind of feeling in the water.
hey, look, I can't tell you what I wouldn't do unless I was in that position. But sitting right here on this side of the fence, nah, I would just have to hold myself, But I'm telling you, like,
Good answer. Good answer.
it's so many. I read a lot of stuff like that about prison inmates, and watch the documentary and stuff like that, and to see how these people get into those situations
Mm-hmm.
is I'm telling y'all, it's crazy. Like, I've read some stuff that was crazy. Like, dude just go in, he muscle bound straight, everything. Last thing on his mind. That ain't how he came out. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, and then what puzzles me is instead of saying, okay, I crossed over and I like it, go on about your business, but don't try and come at me and want to be my wife and play two double roles. No, I think that is so disrespectful. Let me make that choice. Don't tell me, oh no, baby, no, I ain't get down like that. Because I'm gonna tell you, as a woman, you lock me up for 12, 20 years, oh, I'm gonna cross over straight up. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't know if I'm gonna like it when I get out,
Ooh,
but I
so
know I'm
so
gonna get it
as
while I'm in.
Papa Docs would say, Lady T, you gonna be top or bottom.
Hey, I had to be a virgin first, so I guess bottom. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jerome, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, so we know. So say if a man is, they do that with an inmate. Men is with men is with men, women is with women. So
Right.
if the man is doing the man, so the man say, okay, they did what they did, but just in prison, that's what they like in prison. When they come home, they may not like that. That's still not
Stop.
acceptable.
They gonna like that because if you on the top or the bottom and you are getting penetrated and over time you're constantly doing it, you're gonna like it and you're gonna want it, no matter how much you camouflage it.
But listen, no, the other thing is you also have to think about is the threat of your life, because a lot of it that goes on, it becomes a situation of life or death in there. I mean, inmates in there that's got more time and you can't give them no more time. They don't care nothing
That's
about killing you,
that's right. That's right.
So how are you going to do it? Somebody threaten your life and there's nothing you can do about it.
I'm gonna be their bitch all day long.
Hey, but you got to listen. It's just being honest. I understand
I'm
your
being
honesty.
honest.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, from the stuff that I read and the stuff that I hear, the people, the way they get compromised in there, because you could go in there thinking, I'm just going to go in here and mind my business. And I'm
And
going
do
to stay to
my time.
myself
Yeah.
and do
And
my
turn
time.
into a Muslim.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's your plan. When you get inside, them people already ganged up. Them folks is already, in cahoots on what. You don't have a choice of what your choice is.
That's right.
There's so many different facets about it because you have the sexual aspect, you have the gangs, like he said, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're in a prison where there's not enough guards working, so you're trying to live each day, you know, and I have he's kind of like a family member. He's in there, and talked to him about last Monday. He was saying that he had a situation where he got locked down because we were like, well, what happened? We haven't talked to you. And he said, well, I went to the restroom, and on my way there, one of the guys said, um, I see you. And he was like, no, that was disrespectful. That was a threat. So in prison, he says, your mentality has to be, are you going to ignore what they say, or are you going to deal with what they say? And he said, if you ignore it, then everybody come at you as if you're a punk.
Oh.
He said, so you have to defend yourself. So he said he went to the restroom and the guy came in and said something to him again. He said, okay, just give me a minute. I'll be with you in a minute. He said, I got out and I beat the shit out of him and that was it. He said, I'll take that lockup. He said, because if I didn't say anything or do anything about that, then I would be the bitch in the jailhouse. And then everyone will start coming at you that way and trying to attack you.
I believe it.
So yes, it is a fight
way
for
they
your
gonna
life.
break you in.
So Lady T, you gonna be that bitch? Lady
I'm gonna
T,
be
you
the
gonna be that
bitch. Just tell me what side I need to start on, because you gotta break me in.
So is it like a dominant
Lady
thing?
T. Lady T. Lady T.
What?
You just gonna give in without a fight.
No, I'm gonna fight now, but I ain't gonna be fighting every day for no 12 years. It ain't gonna be no 12 years slave over here. No, ma'am.
Lady T.
I just listen.
You could get
I'll
off
just
on
try
your
to
own.
pick the best one.
Okay, because you could get off on your own and stay out of trouble. Okay. I'm just saying.
But child, they may want some of this wet, and I just be like, okay, I just had to go down, fight, and may the best bitch win. Oh my goodness.
Jerome, your hand is still up. Is there something else you'd like to share with us?
Oh no, I'm trying to get a former CEO on the line. Give me a second.
Oh, okay. Not a problem. Not a problem.
Okay. So next question. Oh my God, that was funny. So next question is, knowing that, let's say the person comes out, knowing that they were with someone inside the prison, not the correction officer, but the inmate, and they want to continue to have that relationship, and you too. How would you feel? Anyone?
Darren, can you hear her? Darren?
Yes, I'm here. I heard. Could you repeat that question one more time?
I said, what if you, I hear feedback. What if you were in prison for 12 years? You met someone, because some of these people really fall in love, like true love in prison. And then they still want to live that double life. Like they want the man and they want the woman, and they tell the woman, hey, you know what? I love you. I want to hold it down with you, but I love him too. How would you feel?
In a nutshell, hell no. And I say that with all honesty because I am selfish. If I am in a relationship with you, it is you and I. I am not looking to bring nobody else in. On top of the fact, you talking about bringing in a prisoner, a criminal, somebody that has been, you have lost your rabbit ass mind. No, it ain't happening.
Oh, rabbit. Okay.
That's my saying. That's my saying. Rabbit ass mind.
But listen, people do it every day with swinging. What's the difference?
I don't care. If she has been in prison and she wants me and the other woman, you need to stick with the other woman, because I am selfish that way. I need all the attention, just like I'm giving all the attention. And it's a prison on top of it. No, we're not sharing.
Okay.
Great answer, Darren. Great answer. All right. I haven't heard from Andreen tonight. Andreen, can you hear me? You know I'm gonna call you out. How you doing, Andreen? Welcome. Good evening, Nikki.
Hello.
Andreen.
Yeah.
You have such a beautiful smile. Look at them pretty teeth. Hey, Andreen.
Hello. I mean, this topic is interesting, to say
It's
the least.
very interesting when we know we're not trying to go that direction, but
Yeah,
just in case.
yeah. That's the gist of it. I feel like not trying to go that direction. I feel like you're definitely learning about some interesting lifestyle facts about men in prison, but I mean, I don't dispute. I actually think it's just more like tonight. It's more of me just like taking in information and learning some new thing. Yeah.
I understand, Andreen. I understand.
But
Look, I'm writing this down in pencil because I ain't even trying to fill it out in ink. Nevertheless, I wanted to say hello to you, Andreen. And of course, I'm going to come on over here to Nikki. Nikki, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Nikki. Do you have any stories of the tricks of the trade about romance in prison?
Nope. That's my one word answer.
Nope. 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 I got you. I just figured I would touch bases with you. Understood. Now I got a lot of iPhones on here and I can't distinguish. So I don't know. Does everybody iPhone look the same? If I say iPhone to the top next to Jerome, does everyone see the same thing I'm seeing?
No, my panel is different.
Oh, okay then. Well, I guess I can't call on them like that.
Who do I see the iPhone?
I see it. The one by Jerome, iPhone by Jerome.
Well, welcome iPhones. Next time I know you're gonna put your little alias up for me so I don't have to say iPhone 1, iPhone 2. But nevertheless, Lady T, you have any more questions for the panels or any more information you want to share?
I sure. No, one more question, and then I'll leave it alone. So, and this is for Leanne because I know she gonna bring the spice. So, with, let's say, in a female prison, and they have the transgender locked up. I don't know how they separate them, but anyway, they are a woman, but they have a penis. Would you be curious?
No, I get up on my own. You got the wrong person. I get up on my own.
Listen, Lady T, I'm not absolutely sure if they haven't had the surgery and they are transgender. That means nothing to the penal system. He's still going to go over to the male incarceration. He wouldn't be put in the
Didn't we have something
lockup?
There was a case I think
yeah,
years ago
exactly.
in New Jersey. A transgender guy had like 10 girls pregnant.
Yes.
So he was still active.
So they do put them with the females.
So apparently he liking coochie, right?
Yeah.
He got a penis. He like coochie. Maybe I don't know the way they think.
But that was kind of like one exception. But normally with the transgender, they have a special unit, a special housing for them in the male prison to keep them from that male population that's trying to knock down the gate to get to them all day long. Yeah.
When?
Oh, they do. They got special units like that.
Oh,
this window.
Papa, I know a lot about this stuff,
man. On the LGBTQ team.
I know a lot about it because I've been curious for a long time about those type of topics. So I watch a lot of documentaries on it, or I read a lot of stories on it. You know, because I'll be wondering.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, not that I want to go across the fence. No, that's not my plan.
No. I'm not saying you might get stuck by that. What they call that stuff on the barbed wire? Might get stuck.
Yeah, I ain't that nimble right like that. So but I've been seeing it, and then it's a lot of suitcases going on.
Yeah.
Where they put the transgender in with the regular male population, and they've been raped and tortured and all of that. And then there's another section of the transgender that use their transgenders in order to survive in prison. That's how they eat. That's how they get everything, So
do you think they do that purposely to just torture them?
it depends on who's running the system. Yeah. Some of the wardens don't give a damn and won't, say, well, that's a special, you're being special to my prison and I can't have that. Throw them in special population. But yeah, they definitely have a different lock. They got a ward for they call it like they have a PC ward, which they call Punk City.
Oh man,
They
you've
got a
been doing your
ward.
real research.
Man, it's been crazy. It's just the things that grabs your attention on document. I'm a documentary guy, so I watch a lot of that kind of crap. So, but
experience back in days too with your threesome, I guess. Also
say what now?
Action. All right, Jerome, do you have your CO on the line?
Yes.
No. They're too busy roasting me, but go ahead, Jerome.
Yes. Her name was Lady V. She's on the line.
That is not my name. My name is Veronica.
Okay,
Veronica.
I didn't know you wanted to
Welcome.
put your real name out there.
Hi, how you doing?
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Veronica. We waiting. My ears is to the glue. It's glued. I'm ready.
My name is Veronica. I've did 9 years in corrections, 5 years as a sergeant. I was an officer at Everglades CI. I also worked at Dade Correctional Institution. So give me a little insight on what you guys want to know so far.
Well, we wanted to know, or should I say Dr. Fabulous want to know, when the inmates are being intimate, do you all just walk away and let it happen, giving them the okay, or is it your job to prevent them from doing sexual acts inside of prison?
Well, a lot of inmates do interact in sexual activities, but it's our job to stop the inmates from doing the sexual activities. No, we don't catch them all. We catch most of them, but not all. When they're being intimate inside of the prison, both of the inmates is locked up and placed in confinement, which is a DR for 30 days. If they're found guilty with the DR, that's an automatic transfer to another prison. But they have sex
let me ask you, Vanessa, so that orange is the new black is just like
the orange is the new black is nothing like prison.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so I got it. Anybody else have questions for, you say Veronica?
Yes, I do. Veronica, so is it a lot of times that the correctional officers have sex with the inmates?
Yeah, it's 80% of the officers that do have sex with the inmates. They make babies with the inmates. They get fired for bringing contraband for the inmates. 80% of the officers are the ones that's intimate with the inmates. Majority of the contraband that's being brought into the facility is by the officers. Don't get me wrong, they do bring it in from visitors, but majority of the time they're called ducks. They're called them down of a duck. A duck is someone that an inmate befriend and they talk to you. Once they start talking to you, once you give them one thing leads to another. They build a friendship, and pretty much that's how they get you. So if you're not firm, if you're not strict, you can become a statistic of bringing things in for the inmate. Pretty much an inmate knows the ones that they go for. If you go in there and you're strict, you don't play with them, no smiling, straight to business, 9 times out of 10, they know you the officer that don't tolerate the BS.
A monkey knows what tree to climb.
Exactly. So, I've been there 9 years. I've always been firm. I've had inmates that ask me like, "Oh, if you see $100 on the floor, what would you do?" What I'm gonna do is lock your ASS up, put you on the bus, and you'll be transferred. That's just me.
Because he's trying to con you to give you $100 to do something for you.
It's no way that $100 is on the floor. Where did they come from? As the officers, we're not even allowed to bring $100 in. Yes, we have a canteen, which is the inmate staff, which is the officer staff where we buy food at, but we're not allowed to bring anything under $20. So
and
why
y'all
should
have to have
$100
a
on the floor?
clear bag, right? You have to have the clear bags.
Yes, ma'am. Clear bag, clear bowls. Everything's supposed to be clear. You have them that come and they have rice inside of the bowl, and the rice, it could be weed, it could be pills, it could be all sorts of contraband. We can't go on the food per se if we're the one that's in a Saudi port that's checking them. So a lot of times that's how they get away with it. Sometimes they put it inside, they body parts, they might put it in their food. They have all type of ways that they'll try to sneak the contraband in. If you know that you have contraband and somebody might tip it off, like, an inmate, because at that moment you're not doing what they want you to do. You have inmates, they're the weakest. A lot of people say inmates are, the real men is in prison. They're the weakest of the weakest leagues. They're not real. The first thing they do is tell. They don't have anything to lose. You have something to lose. They have nothing to lose. So by them telling on you, what do they have to lose when they just doing time? They're not going to do anything to them but besides transfer them to another prison. As an officer, you're fired. You're going to jail. At first, they didn't lock them up, but now there's a lot that's going on in the prison. So now they're beginning to lock the officers up.
All right now.
So they lose their retirement and everything.
You lose everything.
Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
You lose everything. An inmate can't take care of you.
It's not worth it.
Their inmate. It's not worth it, but they do it. It's a lot of officers that get with inmates. They make babies. It's a lot. It's a lot goes down in the prison. It's a lot of. It's a lot of.
Where does that? My question to Veronica: where does the action take place? It's in the prison. Everybody's walking around and seeing it.
Pretty much a lot goes on in a cell. It all depends. You have some prisons, they'll stab you up right there on the on a walkway going to child. It could go down anywhere. It's no secret place.
Wait. So you're saying that an officer will actually be intimate with the prisoner?
No, the officers be intimate more or less. Like you have places that's like food service. They go in pantries. You have sometimes at night they will, when they think all the inmates are asleep, they have officer booths. They will lure inmate anywhere. Inmate will lure them anywhere. If that's something they want to do, they make a way. They find a way. We even had nurses to get fired for being sexually active with inmates. A nurse.
You say a nurse?
The librarians that have a husband, that her husband been there for many years, well known, over 50-something years, got caught having sex with an inmate in a library.
Lord have mercy.
It goes down in the prison.
So that goes to that goes to we just left May, this Pride Month now. So that was
I heard you guys speaking on trans. As far as trans,
that was mental illness.
Transgender inmates are put in the population with the regular inmates. They're no different from the male inmates. Yeah, they want to use the bathroom like they're a woman, but at the end of the day, they're not a woman. They still have their male body parts.
I told you all.
They are in the prison with the. So I was listening before I chimed in. We don't put the transgenders in a different area. We don't have anywhere to put transgenders. They still have their male body parts. They're just as well as a male than the next inmate that's a male. We don't have a special place for them. We're not in daycare. This is not Sunday school. There are inmates. They're there for a reason. We don't protect them at all.
Is the case like Caitlyn Jenner? They removed the body parts. What happened in that situation?
Well, Caitlyn Jenner is a man, born as a man. We don't have a facility where we just house transgenders. We don't have that.
But she changed her body parts. Okay, she
Are
will
you
be in the male
absolutely sure?
facility. She will be in the male facility, but she will have a little more private as to go to the restroom, take a shower by herself. But as far as we got a special place for Kaylin, no, we don't have a special place for Kaylin.
But she got female body parts. She won't go with the women.
She's not a woman. She was born as a male.
Oh, okay. So now
she would get the privilege of probably using the restroom alone, or probably I don't dealt with plenty of transgenders, and we don't have a special place for transgenders.
they got to keep their ass in jail like they normal.
Yeah, we have a lot of, we have a lot of the other sexuality, but we don't babysit them. They're just like the male inmates. We don't babysit them. It's no special place for them. They might get privileged to go use the restroom alone or take a shower alone, but as far as like we gonna have a special dorm or special, no, they're all housed as one general population.
They cellmate may very well be a man.
They cellmate will be a man.
Will be a man. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It will be a man. Yeah. Like what we don't put together is like lifers and somebody that has like minimum custody. And minimum custody is someone that's under 5 years. We can't put a lifer in someone that has under 5 years. That's a liability on the prison.
That's a setup. Yeah.
Right. So no, but basically transgenders are an open population with the regular inmates, whether they're lifers, whether they have 1 year, 2 years. They're the only thing different, they won't use the same at the same time because they have so many minutes to shower. They have on Wednesdays they take cold baths. Our water shuts off, so on Wednesdays everybody takes cold showers. They have stalls where the inmates use the bathroom together, and it's not, the toilets are iron. We have trustee inmates where they clean up. They have to make their bed. They have to get out the bed at a certain time. It's no laying down all day in the bed. They have to go to school. They have to do something. They don't have to get their GED if that's not what they're willing to do, but they're gonna get up and get out that dorm.
I have a question for you. Now, you said on Wednesdays they take cold showers. So do they normally have warm showers and just Wednesdays is cold?
It's a little warmer than the cold, but on Wednesdays it's really like ice cold, like a bucket of ice. But on other days
I
it's a
wouldn't be
little,
bathing.
oh, you go bathe because an
Is
inmate
that
go
the
get you up out of there. If you stink, you gonna
format
bathe.
that is that to keep their nature down or something? Why it's done like that on Wednesday?
No, the water resets on Wednesdays. So on Wednesdays it's like they have to flush out the prison system, like the toilets and stuff like that. So it like help recycle the water. So on every Wednesday it's a cold shower.
Oh, okay.
So you won't love prison. You got to get a cold shower because you did wrong and you ain't about to be living up home in free on my taxpayer dollars.
Oh
No, you're not gonna love prison if you like to eat.
Dollars.
If you like to eat, you're not gonna love prison. Every day it's pretty
Count
much like
me out.
coffee cake and oatmeal. On Thursdays you might get every morning they eat for breakfast. They have to be up at 4:30 for breakfast. Coffee, cakes, and oatmeal. You might get one fruit, an apple, or a banana. You don't get seconds. You have 10 minutes to get up out the chow hall. So if you like to eat, if you like to wear, get manicures, they don't do all that in the prison. You might find some, body that gonna groom you, like they make their lipstick and they try to make their liquor, but all that is considered contraband. So if they get caught, if we catch them with that, that's a part of a DR. That's confinement. They'll go in confinement where they'll be locked in for 30 days. They get 1 day out of the week to go out and catch fresh air for about 15 minutes. They can't use a phone. They can only get a pen and a paper, a sheet. That's regular confinement. Now, if they be in CM, which is a higher confinement, it's no sheets, no nothing. Then you have some of the inmates that like to cut themselves, and they might put them in a turtle suit. That's all they have on is a turtle suit. Nothing, no pen, no paper, no nothing.
So they don't get the sheets, so they can't hang themselves, right?
No, they don't get sheets. No, not at all.
Okay.
Right. So none of the rooms have sheets?
They have sheets. They have sheets. They put up a bag to catch the air from the outside, which in
that's a DR. But it all depends on how the officer feel. Some days they might be nasty, some days they might be okay. But none of the cells has air. None of them has fans. So it's pretty much hot. So what the inmates do, they will put like a garbage bag to the window, and they will because the window is always open, and they will try to get the fresh air from the outside to give them like air. They have sheets. They have like the little thin mattress with the little thin sheets. The bed is like it's an iron bunk bed. Sometimes it's a 2-man cell, which is 2 inmates to a cell that's locked behind a door. Then you might have open population where it's a bunch of bunk beds with like over 60 something inmates to it. So Everglades housed like 1,740 something people. The most they were housed is like 1,898.
And no air at all?
Not exactly
They
the
don't have
Hampton
no
Inn.
air condition.
It's not the Hampton Inn, babe.
The officer, we have air, but the inmates doesn't have air. No, they don't have air. No, ma'am.
What about when it's 100 degrees outside?
Well, what about they didn't think about the crime they committed before they knew they was gonna get in 100 degrees? I mean, no, they don't have air, ma'am, at all.
Lord,
Now,
Okay,
I have a question
It's
to ask.
okay.
it's not a daycare.
What about TGK? What about TGK?
You know what? That's the county jail. They get a little more privilege in TGK because they still have their rights. But as in prison, you no longer have your rights. Once you become an inmate in the prison system and you get that DC number, you're awarded to the state. You no longer have your rights.
Okay, I have one last and final question.
Okay.
Were you working there when COVID was up and rapid?
Yes, ma'am.
So they say you're supposed to keep your environment extremely cold to keep COVID dormant. So I know it was up on the
We lost a
rise.
lot of inmates to COVID. We had a lot of inmates with COVID. What they did was they had the CDC guidelines came in and they gave options that you could have took the vaccine. Some inmates took it, some inmates declined. A lot of the officers caught COVID, a lot of inmates caught COVID and they passed away.
Oh my God.
We have inmates pass away every day.
Oh,
And sometimes they family might find out today, sometimes they family might find out a week later. It all depends.
Lord have mercy.
Don't get sick. You're not going to the hospital. And when they
Y'all
get
don't
sick,
take them to
another
the
inmate is taken.
hospital?
It all depends. When they get sick, they go to medical,
The armory.
and the inmate is taking care of them. The nurses barely take care of them. They have inmates that work in the infirmary. That's who take care of you. Inmates. Everything is done by inmates. Inmates control the prison. They clean up. They cook the food. They clean the office station. They take care of the inmates. They laundry. They make the clothes. They fix the things around the prison. It's controlled by inmates. That's their duty and that's their job.
Oh,
Lord, take me now. I can't do
And they
it.
get trained for all of that, right?
They get trained for the yes, ma'am. They get trained for it. Like, I mean, sometimes some of them go in there that just got there. You get off the bus on Thursdays, and by Monday you go on to your classification officer, and you will be assigned to a job. If you can do it, you can do it. If you can't, you can't.
I'm a little lost because being a nurse in prison and you don't have any formal training.
Okay, so you have RNs, you have the actual nurse that has credentials to be a nurse, but then you have inmates that work in the nurse station. That's why half of them die, ma'am, because they don't have the credentials to be a nurse. Nurses, that's why a lot of people die when they're in prison. The nurse job is to care for the inmates. I don't see where the nurses wouldn't even give CPR. It take them, we call on the radio for a nurse because an inmate has fell out. It take them at least 45 minutes to get to the dorm.
But they're right there. Why does it take 45 minutes?
Because they don't want to do their job, ma'am. They lazy.
With the inmates or the real nurse?
The real nurse. The real nurse always come with an inmate. You have the nurse that's supposed to do the CPR, but the inmate will do the CPR before the nurse do the CPR. That's why I tell a lot of people, don't go to prison if you're not equipped for it. I don't think nobody equipped for it, but if they do the crime, I guess they got to do the time. But prison is somewhere that nobody wants to be. I don't see it fit as far as human. The food that they eat, it tells you institutional only. That's the swill where they get the the meat is not even real in prison. Like the meat is not real. It's like the bottom of the barrel, like from the slop of the pigs. That's the meat that they make up to feed the inmates.
Wow.
So I
And
tell
they
people,
plastic rice.
do they eat rice?
The plastic rice.
No, the rice is real. The rice is real. The eggs are like the
powdered.
The powder eggs, but now they starting to get it inmates like boiled eggs. But the food is really not good. We have a program where they have the 500 role models. They come from different schools, and the inmates talk to them like the lifers. We done had Kirk Franklin come. A lot of people, they come and they talk to the inmates. They go in chapel. The inmates do a lot of things. They like have, they have to make their stuff at home, because at the end of the day, it's some that's not never going anywhere. You have lifers that's been there before probably me and you was born. They're not going nowhere. They're gonna die there. So they try to make their stuff at home, because it's nothing. They're not going. Parole is different. It's not like how it was back in the days that you could go up for parole. Things have changed. Like, they're really not doing parole anymore. So if they tell you life, if you have 999, that's natural born life. You're never going home.
What?
You'll be leaving it in a body bag. You're
Lord
not going
have
home.
mercy.
I told
They
you.
have
Well, I
inmates.
appreciate you for taking the time to come on to Upscale Love for You, but we're going to move it right along. It's 10 p.m. Action Jackson, do you have a question? Because if not, we need to let Dr. Feelgood get in and do his spiel.
Well, my question was, how do a person adjust to prison life after dating someone, like a husband and wife, and one person stays out there, stay loyal, or do you cheat? Your spouse doing like 20 years in jail.
You said if
So
someone
asking
cheats.
young lady Veronica.
Yeah.
You said if a spouse.
No. That was the question I was trying to propose earlier. Like, how should a person adjust to prison life if your spouse has been in a relationship for like a husband and wife, and the husband got to do like 20 years? Does the wife stay loyal, or she creep?
She cheat or not?
If she's working in the prison, you mean, or just if it's an inmate?
Either one. I mean, like, yeah, like
you have husband and wife that work at the prison, and then you have the wives and the husband cheat with the officers. It's all a big old circle. It's like, a big circle of love. You got to go in there strong, and you got to go in there and know what you want. You can't let an inmate tell you you're beautiful, because at the end of the day, when you wake up in the morning, you know how you look. You know how you look with makeup. You know how you look with your hair done. You know how you look when your hair is not done. So for you to tell, to let an inmate tell you pretty, it's like, yeah, she probably the one that's not getting no attention out there on the street, or from her husband or her spouse, or whoever. As far as the officers, you got some of them in there that's married, and they will get with the warrant, and they will get with the captains. That's a no-no. They're not supposed to do it, but they do it every day. And a lot of people lose their husband and their wives because they cheat with the other officers. It's just a big, it's all about being strong and knowing who you are. So it's the job is not all that easy, but it's not all that hard. It's just about knowing who you are and knowing what you come there to do. You come there to make your money, and you come there to go home. So if you go there in hopes and looking for a love life or a marriage, like a lot of people say, you find your husband at work, or you find your wife at work. I'm assuming if that's what you're looking for, then that's what you're gonna find. But if that's not what you're looking for, you're gonna just go there to make your money and go home.
Okay.
You better
preach, Veronica.
And y'all say truck drivers are bad. Yeah, okay. All right then.
Well, they say truck drivers, prisoners, post office workers, and transit workers are the main ones. So, I'm just saying that's what
police
they say.
officers, police officers.
Yeah, that's what they say. But it's just all about who you are. Like, if you don't want that, then that's something you don't want. If you already got a significant other at home, why would you mess it up for maybe a one night stand, a fling, or whatever you want to call it? At the end of the day, an inmate has nothing to offer you. They're there for time. You there to make your money. They don't have enough money to secure you on the street. You lose your job, they get transferred. Which one would you pick?
My point exactly. It's a hustle.
Good night, you guys. It's nice talking to you. And remember, transgenders do not get
All right.
babysitted. I
Thank you
want
for
you guys
coming.
to realize transgenders do not get babysitted. So don't
All
let
right.
anyone lie to you and tell you they got a special place for a transgender. No, they don't. They don't.
I
All
stand
right.
corrected.
Thank you.
I stand corrected.
No, they don't have a special place for transgenders. They have a lawsuit against prisons for it, but they don't have a special place for transgenders. One time we had an inmate he was married. Married to his wife for many years. He had a whole family. His wife used to visit him 9 hours away. 9 hours away. And the word on the streets, the prison streets, was the guy was sleeping with the man. One thing about an inmate, they gossip really bad. It's no secrets. It's no such thing as a secret, because if somebody knows, they're gonna tell somebody.
Tell me.
So men talk worse than women, to be honest. No offense to you
Hear that
men on the
feel
line.
good? Y'all talk
No
more
offense.
than women.
But they
love to
talk
hear that.
a lot, especially an inmate. They gossip really bad. So they had the inmate streets was that he was being sexually active with an inmate. You will see the inmate and him, the inmate was, on the other side of the I don't know,
We
however
got
you
you.
want to
We
call it,
got you.
but they used to always be together. And they used to say, them two go together. But you got some people that be like, no, he don't. His wife come and visit him every week. Every weekend, his wife drove 9 hours faithfully and visit him with her kids. The other inmate got mad, wanted him to tell his wife. He said that he couldn't tell him. Lord and behold, guess what the inmate did?
Told the wife.
The inmate ran up to the VP area, which is the visiting part, and blasted it in front of the visiting area of all the inmates and all of the visitors from the outside, which is the civilians. We call them civilians. They're outsiders, so we call them a civilian. And he exposed that man in front of his wife and in front of his kids. I don't know how much food that lady ate before she got there, but I could tell you she threw up everything she ate. So just imagine somebody telling you that you think your husband is faithful and you ride in 9 hours to visit him every weekend from the time he's been in prison for another male to tell you that they've been sleeping with your husband, only to find out that the man that he was sleeping with was HIV positive. That's a hell of a...
That's the front door. I'm done.
That was a lot. We see a lot of things. The person is kind of interested, to be honest. It's real interested. Like you see a lot of it's interesting.
Well, we're gonna have to bring you back on sometime.
Yes, God, we might have to do a part 2 on this, man.
Yes. Thank
you
so
Jerome
much.
can let me know and I'll be up to it. Don't call me too late, honey, because normally I'll be asleep. But I was up right now and I love Jerome, so that's why I did.
Thank you, Lady V. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, you guys. Have a good night.
Good night,
Miss Vanessa. Yep, thank you.
Dr. Feelgood.
I'm not going to be on that long. Just going to run a few things. I put a few links in the box talking about loving. There are a lot of factors on why people would get with a prisoner. One I think I heard earlier was, where they at. Yeah, they might be cheating in there, but you know where they at. Sometimes from what I've seen in anecdotes is that when guys get out and they do have a woman, the woman basically becomes a man in the relationship because she's the provider. She's basically providing the lifestyle that ex-con is going to live. Now, unless that ex-con had an ability to do a job that didn't require that made money and did his felony or prison sentence was held against him, he's not gonna make a lot of money because prisoners, especially Black prisoners, let me get that straight. Black prisoners don't get many second chances at making any type of money after they get out. It was eye-opening to hear from someone on the inside who's actually seen that stuff. And if you have to think about this, whether it's a male prison or a female prison, the inmates ain't got nothing else to do for 23 hours a day but think, scheme, and try to get past, try to get over. The first thing, they're although Black people in general are more likely to be put in prison for something they didn't do, the majority of inmates did something. Most of that is poor judgment, in my opinion.
Yes.
Why would you, whether they look good or not, we debated on whether the hot felon was or not. Why would you be with somebody who the judgment and decision making are not up to snuff, whether they be male or female? That's a red flag. Two, I think Jermaine said it earlier about they're going to tell you anything you want to hear because it sounds good. Remember, men fall in love with looks, women fall in love with words. Eve was deceived. She didn't see, she was deceived because the serpent told her, told her something that wasn't 100% true. And so a lot of times you got those women in there and you got the women guards and, guys talking to them. My husband or my significant other on the outside is not really complimenting me and giving me attention. He's got a whole bunch of captive audience telling me how cute I am. If I was out, I'd get with you. After a while, you're going to start believing that. So those are the things. And in male, with male inmates, with women getting with male inmates, those are things that you have to watch out for. For the most part, as good as women look in prison, most guys with sense ain't gonna mess with them because they in prison. You come out, you don't know if they're gonna be, if you don't know if they want to be with you or they setting you up to run up in your spot and take everything you got. So it's not a winning proposition. It's not a winning strategy to date a prisoner. On either side. Are there exceptions? Yes, there are exceptions in everything. But the probability of having a happy ending with a person who's been incarcerated, especially over a period of time, if they're institutionalized, like Papa Doc was saying, he dated somebody that was institutionalized. And the same thing happens with military, police, jobs where you're doing something every day, routine, even prison guards. You're doing the same thing every day. So it gets repetitive. You get repetitive, becomes second nature. It's hard. One thing, and I was in the military a total of 31 years. I still eat like I was in basic training. Now I've gotten better, but I've been institutionalized in that way. But when you're with people who are institutionalized, you have to have a special understanding that there's some things that they can't readily change. And there's some things that that they need to change to make the relationship better. And also, most thieves are liars. Think about that. Most thieves are liars. So you won't know what, everybody lies. I don't care if you say you don't lie, you're a liar. But
right.
You got when you're doing things with people, you gotta take everything they say with a grain of salt. We're not perfect, but we have to have sense and saying, hey, this person's in jail for something. They might not have enough money to beat the case. They may be innocent, but their actions speak louder than their words. The last thing before I go is, with any type of relationship, both parties have to be committed to going in the same direction in order for it to work.
Amen.
If you're not, if it's not for the weak of heart, dating a prisoner is not for the weak of heart. If you're not willing to do the lion's share of the work, because they're unable to do everything or some things, then you probably shouldn't do it. You have to look at it from an asset and liability thing. Is dating a prisoner or marrying a prisoner or having kids by a prisoner, is it an addition to your life or is it a detriment to your life? That's why I'll leave you on that. So back to you, Dr. Fab. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. Never make love by the garden gate, because love is blind, but the neighbors ain't.
All right.
Now that was cute. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for coming and joining us for this topic. It was very, very informative. Of course, that's all I can do is go, So I want to tell everyone, thank you for joining us. Please come back next Thursday, different topic, same crew. And also for those of you who are still interested in our masquerade cruise, we are still accepting the $25 for the space to save your space. And until next time, guess what, y'all? Smooches. Good night. Mwah.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.